What's up? What's up? It's been a while since I've done a live show. I think it's been quite a few months. Heck, I think it was even before Kevin died, I think. Around that time was the last time I did a show, so it's been quite a few months. I did a show, maybe 2 weeks ago, Pocaninos. Very, very important show. It's a pretty long show. It's probably about 3 hours long. If you haven't heard my Pocaninos show, go check it out. It's good times. It's not a complete waste of time at all. So, what's up, guys? It's 11:40 here in Phoenix. It's fucking hot, and I'm sorry about the AC unit, but it's just hot. What can I do? I gotta turn that shit on, you know? I gotta keep it cold, you know? I'm a white guy. I'm the whitest person on speaker outside of Rick. Rick, Swedish. I'm more British, a little bit of German. So supposedly other things, but let's not get into that, okay? Let's focus on this show at hand here. Anyways, it's been a while. It's been fucking a while. God damn, man. Woo, yes. So, let's just start off with some of the dramas, okay? So recently, I gotta address a few things, because it's been many months. I'm gonna start off with the Kevin thing. You know, I think he was a troubled soul. And, you know, I'm going to talk about it now because, you know, I'm not going to be his best friend right when he dies or anything. But, you know, don't do that shit. Suicide, I can understand it if you're someone like Hitler and there's no other way out and you don't want the bad guys to get to you. That makes sense. You know, hey, shoot yourself. But, you know, when you have kids out there, and you do that, and then you kill yourself on the family's property, and then they have to deal with your body. It's bad, because now your kid will never know, hey, you know, am I not worth fighting for? My dad chose to exit life prematurely. He chose not to fight for me, and especially if that kid doesn't like you already, then, or, you know, there's some doubts, it's just bad. Don't do that shit. There's always help out there. You know, there's people out there. I've never been suicidal myself, but I don't know. I just know that there's plenty of reasons to live, and you should find them. And if you don't find them, figure out how. So don't do that shit. Next thing here. You know, Spreaker's been different. I know a lot of people in our circle of crust here have actually just poofed. Think about it, like. Goofy Bones kind of not even... Well, Goofy Bones been at Spreaker, but his chats are just dead. It's mostly like one or two people, and I think they're coming in from Periscope. So, yeah. And then if you write stuff in his chat, he just deletes it all. I don't know when he's turning into a huge pussy for some reason. Which sucks, because his shows used to be pretty fun, even if it was mostly a regurgitated shit half the time, but... You know, you get what you pay for here at the free Spreaker listenership, so fuck it. So, yeah, Goofy's been around. He just deletes shit, so it just means I'm going to have to pick on him a little bit more. And then when he posts those pictures of naked women that he sleeps with, that are never with him in these pictures, just letting you know, so... maybe I could start doing that, posting pictures of naked ladies on my Twitter and just say, oh yeah, I got with them. I fucked these bitches. Oh, they wanted it. Everyone loves a big brown man. No, but I like Goofy. I like to give him a hard time because that's the thing. If no one gives you a hard time, then you're going to live in a bubble. And if you live in that bubble, you're going to be a miserable person. So I think people underestimate the value of trolls, and when people freak out, you know, most of the time they're freaking out about, hey, they're questioning something you did, or, you know, whatever your thought pattern is, and you get a little upset. But really, solid foundations are built to last. So if it's solid, then fuck it, fuck them, fuck everybody. So anyways, so. Someone was saying something about reparations, like in a serious manner, like, and this is something that really, it just irks me. When you hear about reparations at all, and this person was saying it's not about the money. If we just all have, like, sat down and had conferences and shit, like, Yeah, that'll just make it all better. No, no. When I hear stupid shit like that, I have to call it out. It's a dumb idea. Reparations. Now, granted, maybe black people do have some grievances, but just paying people off like that because there's no way to tell who was the slave in most cases or what have you. So when you do shit like that, you're just handing out money and you're not creating a strong community. You're just, and this is the thing with the Democrats is, and a lot of people on here that are Democrats, everyone thinks this is a big conservative thing, but no. A lot of the people in the Circle of Crust are basically Democrats and liberals and stuff. But, you know, big government has its problems. And certainly limited government does too. But oftentimes when you have these big, huge government policies and all these big entitlements, you're not creating a working man. Like the Democrat Party, I mean, it's more about fairness, but it's not about getting out there and striving to be better. It's not about getting out there and doing better for yourself. It's more about trying to level a playing field that will never be even. I mean, I can understand maybe slight minimum wage increases, but not 15. Not everyone deserves 15 because, as someone told me, and I guess they didn't understand how some of this works. Well, you know, if like EMTs, if they're complaining about, because some people think that they make about 15, and I think in some cases they do. Okay, so get this. Okay, if you raise the wages of people working at Burger King and stuff, just standard people from, I think they make about $9 or $10. If you raise it to 15, and then you raise the people that are doing EMT stuff to what, 20 or higher, and you just keep raising everything up, what that person failed to understand was that's inflation. You know, and once these rate hikes do go up for wages across the board, rent increases. So you're back where you started. All your food products increase as well. So unless people are going to crack down on rent control at their apartments, it's just a bad idea. The ideal thing is to stress the education, getting a trade of some kind, even if it's something dingy or not dingy. But there's a lot of trades out there people should be learning and getting a craft. Because I know the community colleges, well, they're fine. There's really only so much you can do with a, what do you call it, a 2-year. I have a 4-year, easy to get. I mean, if I can get a 4-year, any fucking asshole can get a 4-year. And I put it to work, and, you know, I make okay money. Not the greatest, but not the best like everyone else on here, all the millionaires on here, but it's a modest income. I do it well. I can save a few $100s a week. Everything paid for, so I do okay, you know. But just I don't know. I just think people are, like, a lot of the liberal people are kind of, they're so dependent on the government that's why they want to keep raising it. But then you got to look at the conservative side, which is they don't like to be taxed to death, so they want less. So there must be some sort of medium here, like when it comes to the military. I notice it's pretty bloated and all that. You know, maybe we could cut down, trim some of the fat here, and still be the number one. I think that's the important part here. I think someone said we have 800 military bases. Do we need 800? I mean, to be honest, maybe a few on every continent. I think that should be good enough, well stocked. And with the F-35 scandal, I don't know if you guys know about that. Billions and billions and billions and so many billions of dollars went into that fighter jet program. Just, it was wasteful. There wasn't a lot of oversight, and I think it was probably $80 billion just up in smoke. That's the thing is, you know, the F-22s were fine. F-16s are great too. The 35s were kind of like an F-22 on steroids, but they fucked it up. I mean, that's just $80 billion just vanished, and that's sad. So I really hope that maybe we could have some more oversight in the military spending. Maybe reduce it by, I think someone said it's like 50% for the military. Maybe we can bring that down to maybe 30. And then meet somewhere in the middle with some of the liberals and say, okay, let's put some of this to the healthcare. But the bad thing about this healthcare shit, which people don't understand, is it's so high here. And I think we need to figure out ways to reduce the cost of that. But at the same time, people are like, oh, big pharmaceuticals evil. But, I mean, they're about their shareholders. So it's not about them being evil. And a lot of times, too, is when it comes to the pharmaceutical world, 90% fails. All lab tests fail. So if you have 10 lab tests going, one may succeed and the other ones are going to fail. So the research and development thing is, and that's why we produce a lot of the new vaccinations and stuff, and the great good stuff, is because we're the ones pouring the billions and billions into the research and development. You know, I'm not against a global initiative to where people can share and maybe get some of this stuff out the door, not free, but low cost. You know, that wouldn't be too bad. I don't know, it's a sticky situation because a single payer in this country, I think, would flop really bad. I mean, it barely works in England. And, like, the whole Bernie situation was really bizarre to me because, you know, I make about a middle income, and for me, my taxes would have went up about $6,500 a year. And, you know, I can't imagine everyone else where, you know, if you have a plan and all that, and that's the thing is, I don't know, like, and there's other people too, like even the lower income, because people didn't quite understand, like the Bernie, everyone got a tax increase, not just, you know, the upper and the super upper. It was everybody. Even the bottom people got a huge tax rate increase, believe it or not. And the big problem with that is when you do that, then you don't have any money to spend. And then what Bernie was going to do was go after some of the Wall Street people. And that's another thing too. Like, it just seems like he was out to penalize success. And like Wall Street, that's a way people of lower income can actually get ahead in life. And people don't realize that. I mean, yeah, the rich are going to stay rich, but unless they are stupid as fuck and mess everything up. But if you invest wisely in the stock market, and you know you're only making what, 30 grand a year or something, you can get ahead if you know what you're doing. Steady investment, CDs, bonds. Bonds are more long term, but REITs, those are great. Although those might change with the rate increase. But yeah, there's a lot of good REITs out there. I think that pay substantially, like 8%, that are steady. And that's good. I mean, but I think a big problem is people don't know how to save. They're so dependent on their family and their government and they're stuck in this depression and this rut. And really, it's just too much idle time. Like they sit at home and weep, you know, do drugs, smoke pot, which is all fine, but do something, you know, do something. Let that shit be rewards, not a daily routine. And if it is a daily routine, do it when you get home. You know, it really feels good to do stuff like that. So, and I think we're just stuck. There's so many people in this country that are just underemployed. Like, I'll give Obama credit for my stocks being pretty high right now, but at the same time, there's always a negative to the positive. He's brought back a lot of jobs, but at the same time, we were in a recession. So there's really only one way out of that, and that's up. Another thing is, well, those new jobs weren't exactly middle class, so we're stuck with a lot of new jobs that just basically suck ass. And that's where someone like maybe Trump, if he were to fix some of the fair trade stuff, where, because it is pretty hard to sell shit over there, if he could just say, hey, look, we do a lot of trading here. I understand, like, China will always be a manufacturing capital, but let's make it easier for us to also send you guys stuff and sell our stuff in your country. And that's what he alluded to, but that went over a lot of people's heads, and that's what Bernie was talking about, where we basically sunk our own manufacturing ship over here. We basically became so expensive, and I've always recommended, yeah, guess what? We can't make things super cheap here. So, but let's let China make the cheap shit and let us make some of the more medium grade stuff. Let's keep the welding stuff here, the welding objects here. Let's. Here's the thing. There's something called blue ocean strategy where it's like the Wii. What Nintendo did with the Wii was very brilliant. It sold okay. It wasn't as great as like the PlayStation or the Xbox. But what they did was they assembled games for women and young kids and certain age groups. So they're targeting different groups that weren't really representative, like in the gaming world. Like most of the gaming stuff is for males, although women playing it has increased. But what Nintendo did was just basically focus fire on specific groups that were ignored. So I think with the manufacturing world, we can see what the world needs, how we can create it the cheapest while maintaining middle class workers. And I think that's the deal. I really think that when it comes to this country, we just really need to focus on bringing back the middle class. And that's kind of why I was sort of for Trump. If you look at Hungary right now, companies are complaining about high wages. What Hungary's did, and that's one of the few countries whose prime ministers actually endorsed Trump, they basically turned totally isolationist. And when they did that, there wasn't any real immigration trickling in. So they said they had to start paying everyone a real wage. Wages have gone up dramatically. So look at that. So that's why, it's not so bad. Like here in Arizona, we have Joe Arpaio. When he was really, really cracking down on immigration, guess what? All these people that were here, the construction workers, their salary increased by 15%. And that's something suicidal I see about the Democrats. On one hand, they want to bring all these immigrants in. They want to bring, they don't realize that a lot of the Democratic people that are requiring government aid, that are requiring these entitlements, guess what? You have to now fight with these guys, because when they come here, oftentimes we have to provide for them. Certain Mexican immigrants, when they come here, they usually bust ass and work in the fields and shit. But maybe down the line, their kids might turn into gangbangers. So that's a big issue with that. But when you bring all these people here and you have to fund them and all this, guess what? You're going to lose out. I mean, that's another person that potentially will take your unskilled jobs. There's a lot of unskilled people in this country. And if you think that's a good idea to bring more unskilled people into your country, you're kind of delusional, because unless you think that you're going to somehow get more of those benefits, if you're an old-time person receiving all these benefits, it's going to get cut at some point. I mean, you can go as far left as you want, but there's only so many benefits to go around. You can keep raising taxes, but you're going to... That's the thing. If you keep raising all these taxes, you're going to scare away business. So you're going to get rid of the tax revenue. So when it comes to that, you have to play a delicate balance where you don't want to tax companies too much, because it's not profitable to be a business there. So you got to do something like that. So that's kind of why I like Trump, a little bit of the protectionism, and that protects everybody. It's not just the white working class. I mean, there's a black working class that could easily benefit from Trump's policies. And but yeah, to be honest, I don't know if Trump will make it out of this latest thing. It's weird because 3 weeks ago he was ahead of Hillary in a lot of polls, but he's just too loud. He just doesn't have any self-control. And I think if he toned down his rhetoric a little bit, because in order to win the president, you have to appeal to quite a few groups. And if you piss off all these groups, then you're not going to have a voting base. Like Hillary has her voting base. Jill Stein, who I think is trying to recruit a lot of the Bernie people. I like to call her a watermelon, because she's green on the outside but red on the inside. It's amazing how the Green Party turned so like that, instead of just the environmental types, with a liberal twist, obviously, but she went pretty far. And then the libertarian ticket, which is actually going to do pretty well. I mean, obviously, a lot of people don't like Trump. A lot of people don't like Hillary. And then, and this is my guff I have to pick with Pumpkin Face and Max Green or Gooley. They're talking about you don't have to pick either Trump or Hillary, but they won't. They're not even helping out like Johnson, who, as far as I can tell, their policies are closer to libertarian, which is maximum freedom, but they won't even pick him. So it's just a big giant free-for-all, it seems like, for a lot of people. Like, I don't know if they're serious about politics or, and it's kind of hard to be, but I don't know. It's like, if you vote for the person that closely, resembles your interests, just go with that. Or don't. But, I don't know. Anyways, another silly thing I heard the other day was that AC units are responsible for, I guess, obesity in America. And that's the silliest shit I've ever fucking heard in my life. Now, AC units and stuff like that, central air and all that fine stuff, just basically made places like where I am more livable. I'm out here in Chandler, and let me tell you, without it, you would not want to live here. I mean, the fucking Indians, they did the Adobe style structuring, but yeah, they're used to that. We're not. Cracker folk really should not live in the Southwest. It's not for white people. Without AC, this place would collapse. AC basically makes places like this livable. That's it. It doesn't cause obesity. What the big problem is when it comes to the diet and when it comes to the exercise. These are the reasons for obesity in America, not AC units. I mean, our diet is so filled with carbs, and people aren't getting the exercise. I mean, when we have all these tablets, when we have all these cell phones that are supercomputers, when we are surrounded by so many electronics, that is the reason. And we're just having a bad diet. Those are the two reasons. Diet and exercise. We're not doing a good job in either department. That is why you're fat. And the sugars and stuff like that. I mean, our intake is so high right now. I don't know. I just get disgusted when I see people like obese. And I'm not trying to troll them or anything, but it's like, okay, I'll accept chubby and fat, but not obese. I think when it gets to that level, you got to do something. No one wants to see that shit. And it just, to me, when I see that, I just see someone who doesn't give a shit, who doesn't take care of themselves. I mean, obesity is just awful. And it doesn't even have to come to that. Just stop fucking eating. Honestly. That's the easiest way to start losing weight. Stop eating. Take a multivitamin every day. Drink like lemon water or some shit. Yeah, it'll be painful. But keep hydrated. Keep those vitamins coming in. But really, the real way to lose weight without starving yourself too bad, just eat some meat and veggies. And a mix of nuts and berries. And that's it. And exercise. That's it. There's no magical pill. There's a family member I know that took something called Ollie, or ALLI. And I was looking at this pill and I was like, what the fuck? Basically, it made you shit oil. Like your poop turned into oil and you pooped it out. It disrupted your digestive system. It's like, this is fucking disgusting and it's so bad for you. I don't know. People go to a lot of great lengths, and it's simple. One of the best things about this, if you're in America and you're in a big city, there's gyms everywhere. There's really no excuse. If you're in a big city, there's going to be lots of 24-hour gyms, which smell like butt. Let me tell you. But they're out there. Go to them. Stop looking at yourself in the mirror and feeling sorry for yourself and being disgusted. Just do what's good, because I mean, think about it. If you've grown up like really, really overweight, I mean, that's bad. That's going to fuck up your heart. If you've always been overweight, I mean, that's fine. But if you've been like obese your whole life, it's just going to be so hard on your heart. You're going to have complications that at age like 30 and 40 that even diabetes. I mean, that's disgusting. Giving yourself a shot, and it doesn't even have to come to that in most cases, but I know some of diabetes is genetic. But I don't know. I just see people just give up. They just don't try. Like Mr. Midnight Movie. Like I said a comment in Debbie's chat. Like, he's just giving up. If he wanted to lose weight, he would. But he eats like shit. He watches movies. And he'll probably die within the next 5 or 10 years. Because he's already diabetic and he barely takes care of that shit. So, I don't know. I just wish people cared about themselves a little bit better. But they just don't. It's sad. It's fucking disgusting. But what can you do? And another prop thing. It's weird about... Let me talk about this guy. One Angry Jew. I have a lot of respect for him because... Much like Debbie, he can get everyone to either like him or hate him. He's a very polarizing figure. So whenever I hear him, like it's so funny. Like when it comes to Debbie and One Angry Jew, like it's either they're having a good time or they're hating each other. Like once Debbie like casts him out, he's doing One Angry Jew's doing all these shows like loops. And just doing all these shows just to sort of get back at her, you know. Because she draws that. I think she's probably made it pretty clear you gotta like her or you hate her. But either way, you're going to be talking about her. So, hell, I'm talking about her right now. So it's a very good marketing scheme that Debbie has going. Gotta give props where props are due. So, and I just think about that because... It's like JP, like a few weeks ago, oh yeah, fuck One Angry Jew. And One Angry Jew is the only person he has on his show now. So it's funny, like how people are, like I guess everyone has a revolving door of friendship on Spreaker. I mean, everybody, in and out, the alliances change. Like, Guy Shea, like a month ago, he was, saying, oh, Rick's great, and all this. And then now, oh, yeah, Rick's a thief, a fraud. It's like, I don't know. That's another thing. It's hard to really tell. And that's why no one should ever take anything seriously on Spreaker, ever. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, it doesn't mean anything. If you get your pussy hurt, then you've lost. If you have to go around and delete everybody, you've lost. So... Just don't be a fucking pussy, I don't mean be a dick. I mean to be a lover. So yeah, Rick's formed his new Mafia, was it Music Mafia Radio or whatever. Mobster Boss Radio. No. That's really my only complaint is that's probably the cheesiest fucking name anyone could ever come up. Music Mafia Radio. Right, Rick? Really, Rick? The fuck? Are you a Guido? No. So, other than that, it's pretty decent. It looks like he's opened up his audience to more than just indie country. I think he still does. Yeah, he does do country because I've listened and all that. So it looks like him and Leanne had a breakup. That was weird, just out of nowhere. Because I'm friends with both of them. So it's like they break up, and I was like, what do I do? Do I throw one under the bus? No, I'm not like that, I don't. I'm pretty much friendly with everybody, I'm not a vindictive person. I always target bad ideas, not generally, unless you're a real fucking weirdo, then I'll maybe make shows about you, right? Or if you're just a goober, I'll push you around a little bit. You deserve it. Little bullying kind of corrects bad behavior in my eyes, so. Yeah, it looks like Black Sheep is still doing their thing, Without Rick, it's kind of different. Because he was like the head patriarch, and then... That's fine, maybe it just decentralized Black Sheep Network, and you see some of the other people on there, they're doing fine, so... It all works out, make the best of every bad situation, go forward. Replace people if you can. Just go forward. No drama needed, really. And then another thing. Fucking Paul Demski. God damn. Really, I wish he'd put fucking weight back on. Ever since he lost all this weight and looks like a goddamn Holocaust victim, I mean, he's just been grumpy. It's like grumpy fucking Demski. Jesus Christ. He becomes the character that he used to make fun of. Fuck, Demski. Go on a eating binge. Regain your personality that you used to have. It's always whining. Spreaker's dying. Yeah, Spreaker's dying. Let me tell you something about Paul Demski. Very important. I tried to invite him to the Fuck You Network, and the first thing he does is just spams what the fuck is that show? TRP. He doesn't listen. He just spams it and says this show sucks, and he didn't even give an honest listen. Like, he's so pedantic that it's just like, okay, news guy. But news guy isn't around in terms of Spreaker. He's not around in terms of radio, which I wish he was, but he's not. You know, you gotta, I don't know, I guess it must be an older guy thing where you can't make new friends, I should say. So you're stuck in this model where it's like, okay, we're the best, we just hang out with each other, we just hang out there on shows. That's fine, you know, everyone's really cliquey like that. No one really ventures off, really. I'll be honest, that's one thing I think I can say about myself, and not many people can. You know, I don't just stick to my show. I don't just stick to just a certain set. I go everywhere because when it comes to new people, it's new ideas and it's new information that you might not have had before. So if you just stick to the same like one or two shows, not only will you get confirmation bias, you kind of, there's not a lot of new information that people come up with. People are kind of limited in what they can talk about. Like, certain people can only talk about video games. Certain people can only talk about liberal politics. Some people can only talk about Republican politics. And it's so limited that you kind of stunt yourself if you just limit yourself just to one circle. Life is about many things, my friends. Very much so. So I just always, when he said, I guess my whole rant about Paul was, he's a good guy. You know, I don't think he has a problem with me. I don't have a problem with him. But when he said Spreaker's dying, my only big problem with that statement is, yes, when it comes to our circle of friends, like there's no Mike B, there's no Mr. White, trolling accounts have gone down significantly. Spreaker chats, in terms of our circle of crust, it's declined. That's honestly. So my big thing is, he said Spreaker's dying. That's not the case at all. We've had Donald Trump on Spreaker. People don't realize this because they don't go to these different shows. They just sit at the same two shows that are all slowly dying. And then they say, well, Spreaker's dying. But how the fuck would you know? You don't venture off. You're not adventurous. I mean, you stick to one or two shows, and then those shows slowly die because it's just because there's not a lot of people. And when there's less and less people, then the host might do less shows because, well, who's going to do a show? Because a lot of people lie. They'll be like, oh, I don't care if I have one or two people listening. No, you care. You wouldn't be doing this because otherwise you'd be talking to yourself. You'd be doing shows to yourself, and that shit's just silly. No one does that shit. Like, for me, honestly, when it comes to my stats, I like it when I see 10 plays. Because that means, hey, people are listening, you know? I hate to see, like, 5 plays. I don't think I've had 5 plays, but I like the 10. That means I've probably got 9 other people listening. Important to me, my heart. Oh shit, I think someone actually is dumb enough to be here. Tony Starks, what? You don't come to my shows at noon on Spreaker. I was trying to do the show because no one's up. Because I know Spreaker has worse unemployment figures than the black community in America. So I figured I'd do a show now while everyone's still sleeping. But thanks for coming. Really appreciate it, my friend. I still don't know who you are, Tony. Tony, did you have another name on here? Because that name doesn't sound familiar. So, but yeah, that's right. Travel. There's a lot of good shows out there. There's a lot of weird fucking people. There's there's a guy named Grand Wizard. He's a black guy who talks about making America great again. He goes by Grand Wizard. That's his user title on here. That's the thing about Spreaker, though, is you have to hit the explore button at different times and see what's there. Explore. Hey, that's how I found Dustin. Dislikes. And once I found him, we all went to his shows. He had one of the best Saturday night shows. He'd get drunk, drink his own piss, prank call emergency places, and make a total ass out of himself. It was a great place in terms of Spreaker entertainment. So I think people need to venture out and just make amends, you know. So, oh yeah, another thing. Rick and Alan are now good friends, which is good. I've always felt like, just like the One Angry Juice, sorry. Wow, I'm just stuttering like a bitch here. So when it comes to like the One Angry Juice situation, like love them or hate them, it's like they were enemies, but now they're like good friends. And I always think that's good. Really, anything can be worked out. If you talk to someone for 20 minutes, you explain your problems with the other person, they explain their problems with you, it gets resolved. Everything else is just petty stuff, which is the petty stuff, for me, it's good radio. So if I might have pitted people against each other before, your feelings can take a back seat to moderate entertainment on Spreaker. When you guys screech at each other, that's funny. That's good audience. Good audience stuff, you know. They like that. They digest that, you know what I mean? So it's good that Rick and Alan are friends and doing a show. I hope fucking Rick makes some money off this shit. I see him do that, but I would like to see him actually make money. So Rick, that's my challenge to you. You can talk the big game about monetizing, but do it. No more, I'm going to build it up. I want to see some fucking money. And I'm not going to take any of that money, but I would like a picture of that. Because I think Rick is probably the, how do you say this? The most successful voice, the most successful character, the most successful player on Spreaker. So that's how I saw, like, because when he quit Fuck You Network, I kind of understood, you know. It's like, well, he has an opportunity here and he's taking it, which makes perfect sense. So it's good to see him maybe venture into the world of radio, because most radio is fucking bland. So I you know, a lot of that's podcasting nowadays, but most major radio is not too good. So when you hear someone energetic like Rick, who's hilarious, and he's done stuff at the Fuck You Network, so he has a wide range. He can be boring sometimes, but he can also be fucking hilarious, fucking brutal. And that's the sort of range you want in someone in radio. That's why I hope Rick goes far. And I hope everyone does on Spreaker if they can. I mean, if that's what they want to do, but know your limitations. So I wish other people would market their shit better, and I hope Rick markets his shit, and I hope everyone does well. You know, it's been good. So one last thing here. It looks like we're coming to a close here. Wow, I've spoken this whole time without a music break. Who else can do that? Only me, because I only do a show every fucking few months. So go figure, right? There's a new girl. There's a new girl I'm chasing at work. Someone told me, don't chase honey where you make your money. Fuck that. Fuck that. Makes it easy. Just don't go after a boss or someone that can fire you. That's the way I see it. So here's the thing. Guess what she is? She's an ethnic. She's Russian. Man, that Russian voice. Don't get... Yeah, she's like this blonde hair, blue-eyed chick. Not that that's a requirement for me, but she's a Russian, and she has that broken English that is hot. Let me tell you, it's hot, hot, hot. Even though Russians are Mongoloids, but she's a blonde hair, blue-eyed Mongoloid. Because if you scratch a Russian, you always find a Tartar underneath. But don't tell a Russian that, and don't tell her I said that, because she'll kick my ass. So yeah, chasing her a little bit, making progression. You know me, shy as fuck, shy guy, like from Super Mario. Yeah, I gotta keep that video game talk to a minimum. I gotta keep the Spreaker. I have to pretend I'm not on Spreaker. It's always a good excuse when you juggle real life and Spreaker. It's like, do you tell people you do this? Fuck no. Do you want these critters hanging out with your mothers, your fathers, your sisters, your brothers. I don't. I guess it's kind of like a second life, huh? Like, this really is fake as fuck in some ways, because think about it. Just the different characters and all that, but yeah, chasing her, it's going pretty well so far. We've done a few dates, so that's all you can ask for. But I always assume failure, so there's always a plan B. And really, it's 2016 with Tinder and stuff like that. Really, anyone can get laid. Anyone can have a significant other. There's really no reason, unless you're like super depressed and low self-esteem, there's no reason not to have something like that, or you just don't want it, which is great too. So yeah, everything's going well there. Everything's cracking well. So yeah, Spreaker's been, at least in our circle of friends, been dying. People rarely show up to even the bigger shows, chats lately. That's just the way it is. That's why I say go out, visit. Certain shows I go to, I don't even go under the APOC moniker, because I don't want certain people following me, motherfuckers. Ugh. So it's easier to hide, because sometimes if I hit play, then a lot of people start showing up, which is fine. But I try to get a grasp of these people to see how they work, see if they're interesting, see how much you can mess with them. You know, certain people are like that. So, yeah, there's quite a few people there. I'll start showcasing them and sharing them with everybody to see if they're the real deal. They each have their negatives and pluses. Some are really pussy and ban really easy, but just the way these guys go, you know. That's just the way. Anyways, this was my shit show for a 8/6/2016. It's good fun. Anyways, thanks for listening to my shit show. I promise nothing. I give you nothing. And just hope you guys have a great weekend. No drunk driving, please. Unless you're going to Taco Bell. I'm out.